gentlemen, we are the Bearded Browns. We are live. Excuse me. We have football today. I'm so pumped up. I'm losing my voice already. This is great.
Yeah, no, man. We got football today, and we got a lot of news going on here. So excited, man. We last week we had our first game. We talked a little bit about what happened at the end of that game there, and man, we got a lot to preview this week. We've had a full week of practices, had some joint practices with the Buffalo Bills, and we're going to be getting into some of that stuff here in a little week. But I think, overnight we had some news here that I think is probably the big news for Cleveland Browns fans, and you're wearing the jersey there, so I think we can lead off with that. Number 24.
Yeah, man. I was laying in bed yesterday watching The Office, and my cousin texted me, and James Frank texted me, and I was like, whoa, dude, seriously? So I looked it up just to make sure. Is this real? And it was real, man. And that one kind of hit home, obviously, because that's the best running back that we've had in quite a long time.
Maybe my lifetime.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And that one hurt, man. That one, I didn't cry, luckily, but it hurt. It definitely hurt.
For sure. Nick Chubb announcing about maybe 8-9 o'clock last night that he is retiring from the game of football, the game that he's played his whole life. First of all, I can't believe he's 30 years old. But at 30 years old, Nick Chubb has retired, played 8 seasons in the NFL, 7 of them with the Cleveland Browns. And, man, there was a point in time where you could not convince me that Nick Chubb was not going to have a gold jacket.
Yeah, and obviously he's going to retire a Brown, right? I mean, you have to. That's where you spent a majority of your career.
Let me tell you something.
Drafted from.
If you brought Joe Hayden back here, who went to the Steelers, to retire a Brown and to break that guitar, over the speaker here, I mean, you got to do that for Nick Chubb.
I agree.
More
special.
Yeah, of all the guys that you did that to, that guy you got to do that for. Nick Chubb might be. You hear the question frequently, like, who's your favorite Cleveland Brown of all time? And I think that there are guys that have been louder, and there have been guys that have worn the uniform that have been flashier. I don't know that there's a guy really that has ever been my favorite, really, more than Nick Chubb. He came in, and that dude nobody else has just grinded the way that he did and exemplified what it was just to be like a Clevelander, and really to be a Cleveland Brown the way that Nick Chubb did. And I miss watching him run the football, and I miss him being a part of the team, and I hate the way that I love the way that he left it all on the field. I hate the way that I hate the way that it ended for him. Went down, he was injured by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care what anybody says. I said it was a cheap shot at the time. I still think it's a cheap shot. And, I just hate that it was the Steelers that took him down.
Well, it happened in college, and it happened in the NFL, and against our rival, unfortunately. But I'm not going to say it was a cheap shot, man. You're taught kind of to tackle low. You're at the line of scrimmage. Things get rough. You got guys blitzing in there, and Nick Chubb's going to be up the middle, so where are you going to go? You're going to go low. I'm not saying that they purposely did that, man. You can't purposely. You could purposely injure somebody, I guess, but I don't think that was their goal on that play at all. As much as I hate Pittsburgh Steelers, I disagree. I don't think it was done purposely, but it is hard to lose. As a Clevelander, the most humble guy I've ever watched play football. Mm-hmm. The guy scored a touchdown. He didn't do big celebrations. He walked into the stadium in sweatpants and just bald, man. That's what we don't have. And I'm going to tell you something. I am so sick of the fashion show before a game. This is something I want to bring up just real quick. You're a losing team. Nobody cares what you're wearing before your game. I don't. Do you? Do you care what people are wearing?
No, I get that. But I think that's kind of like an old school mentality, right? These guys, that's the whole that's 1960s, 1970s type thing. That's passe. Listen, that that stuff doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to these players anymore like that. And I don't really look at it that way anymore. Listen, these guys out there, by the way, the banner's falling out behind you there. But, to me, it doesn't necessarily matter. I understand what you're saying, right? But these guys, whether you're on a winning team or a losing team, what it takes to make it to the NFL, right? The grind and what it takes to be a professional in your sport, like you have the right you got the right to good, when you're going in to play these games, right? There's no way when you make it to the NFL, whether you are on a team that's 2-14 or 2-15 now, or you're in an undefeated team, right? You should have a certain level of pride when you're walking into that stadium. You are professional. You are elite. Right. So you don't hang your head when you walk into that stadium. So I'm not necessarily saying that these guys, I don't think these guys should be hanging their heads, going into there. So I don't necessarily believe that old school stuff where, you don't walk in looking good. You have pride going in there. But I do certainly appreciate, how Nick Chubb, presented himself and presented, Cleveland, and we'd love to know what are some of your guys' favorite Nick Chubb memories. Give us a call on the Maple City Ice Bud Light listener line, 440-775-1320 here at WOBL. We love to hear what you guys thought. What were your favorite Nick Chubb memories, man? So many.
Mine was Jim Donovan's call on an 82-yard touchdown, I believe, when Chubb ran it in, and obviously you hear Jim Donovan in the background just screaming, because that's a Cleveland voice you'll never forget as well. But he was, as soon as Nick scored the touchdown, he was like, Chubba Wubba Wub, or Chubba Wubba Hub.
Yeah, right.
Goosebumps.
Ethan's calling some out, Chubba Wubba Hubba, run to the river.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to some people listening. Shout out to Stella and Aaron out in Oak Harbor. Thank you for listening out there. We love everybody listening and participating in the comments there. It's something you're gonna. There's just so much Brown stuff that you miss. You miss Jim Donovan's call. You miss Nick Chubb. And you just hoping. I think that's part of with the quarterback stuff that's going on right now. You want some of that again. And you're hoping that Sanders or one of these guys can bring that to you. And we miss Nick Chubb, man.
Yeah, and that's why today is not about the Buffalo Bills. Today is about the Cleveland Browns. We got a brand new coaching staff. We got a new offensive system, brand new defensive system. There's a lot to look forward to. But can they pull it together to make a win happen? And is preseason important? No, the score is not. But what you're going to see on the field is. I think that's the most important part of preseason, especially with the rookies, people fighting for jobs.
For sure.
There's lots of stuff to look at today. The offensive line. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. There is no way that you could judge a quarterback's play set or play skill without your number one offensive line. If you, for example, you have Deshaun Watson out there with your number ones, and then you put Shedeur Sanders out there with your 2 and 3s, it's not going to be anywhere near close. You're not going to see the same play at all. I get it. They're two different quarterbacks, but you also got two different lines of defense.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true. But I think that you can, listen, in a situation like that, you can see your quarterback can play themselves out of the competition in those situations. But you're not going to necessarily see a quarterback play themselves in, which is what we're looking for from these quarterbacks. We're looking for a quarterback to play themselves into, especially when you're not sure of these quarterbacks. You're not sure whether Watson still has it, and you're not sure whether Sanders does have it. Everybody's been questioning Sanders' processing speeds. So really, when you have Sanders playing with the second line offensive line, and he's going against the 2s and 3s of, say, Buffalo and against Chicago and things like that, all you're really doing is putting him in a position to, if he's throwing interceptions, then he's still not processing. But if he's throwing touchdowns and he's looking good, he's really just in a position to, that's what he should be doing. I want to see him in a position where he can succeed.
Yeah, I want to see him be able to adapt whether or not the offensive line is doing their job, as a quarterback, you're supposed to be able to adapt. And that goes for every quarterback on his team. That's not just Shedeur Sanders. But I don't think you can get a fair evaluation when you're giving one guy the gold and the other guy is silver. And essentially, it's just a bummer to me. I don't know. I would like to see the number ones with Sanders for a little bit today. That'd be great. It's going to be a great day, though. There's Browns football. That's all that matters, right? You get to see them in uniform playing a game against a really good team.
For sure.
You got Josh Allen. I mean, and their backup quarterback's name is Allen as well. So it's just going to look like Josh Allen's out there the entire game.
It's going to be all the Allens.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really special. If you guys are down at the game, make sure you look out there. So, the Browns backers are really an integral part of, the Browns fandom and, the Browns nation, not only just nationally, but internationally. And this week they're having the Browns Backers President Summit here in Cleveland. And Thursday night we were at PJ McIntyre's and we had a chance to meet a lot of the presidents there. And here at the game, there's going to be about like 150 Browns Backers presidents there. So if you get a chance to see any of those guys there, shake their hands, talk to them. They really do a lot to help promote and support the Browns out there. So, the game is going to be a lot of fun out there. I know it's a preseason game, but, say hi to them. It's going to be a lot of fun downtown today. And then, if downtown's going to be fun today, man.
Yeah, it is. And I want to thank everybody, the Browns organization, first and foremost, all the President's Browns backers that showed up to that event on Thursday. That was amazing. We got to talk to some really cool people. It was kind of like, it's one of those things where you now realize that we are the best fan base in the world, man. You don't see that everywhere else.
Yeah. You literally, like, I can't imagine the Indianapolis Colts having what the Browns had on Thursday. The Colts don't have that. The Chargers don't have that. The Rams, the Falcons, Kevin Stefanski down in Atlanta doesn't have that with his fans down there.
I would say the closest is the Buffalo Bills. The Bills Mafia, they're going to be here today too. Don't get me wrong. They're not that far away. What, 3.5, 4 hour drive? Yeah,
but that fan base is still not as good.
They show up. You're right. I agree. I think Cleveland Browns fan base is number one.
Yeah.
By far.
By far. So, we are going to preview the game here a little bit. We're going to be talking about, Travis Switzer, what he brings to Cleveland here. Talk a little bit about the quarterback battle because, you cannot talk Cleveland Browns football right now without talking about the quarterback battle. Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. We're going to talk a little bit about, the young Browns, who you're watching, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Quinshon Junkins, Fannin. We're going to talk it all, man. We're going to be previewing the game and much, much more here on the Bearded Browns. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to be talking Browns football. Give us a call, 440-775-1320. Bearded Browns football when we come back.
Are you streaming WOBL in high definition?
Yes! 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 Yes!
The audio stream is presented by Nick Abraham Auto Mall.
It's free.
The Doghouse Bar and Grill in Elyria is proud to support the Bearded Browns podcast. And when it's time for Browns football, there's only one place to be. Great food, cold drinks, and every Browns game. Be a savage. Come in and watch all games at Doghouse.
From building great projects to building a stronger community, Wiggins Construction is proud to support our Lorain County 4-H youth at the Lorain County Fair. Wiggins Construction, supporting the next generation.
Hey, it's Gary from the Bearded Browns.
This is not a drill.
City Dogs and the Lorain County Dog Kennel have officially reached
critical mass.
We're talking dogs with zoomies the speed of a Josh Cribbs punt return. These dogs don't care about who the next QB of the Browns are. They just care about you. Adopt, foster, share, save a life. City Dogs Cleveland, Lorain County Dog Kennel. Draft the next Dog Pound superstar.
At City Dogs Cleveland on all social media.
American Legion Post 30 is excited to announce our Wear and Win drawing. Purchase an official American Legion Rockin' on the River t-shirt. Wear it when you visit our booth at any 2026 Rockin' on the River concert to be entered for a chance to win $500. You can purchase your tee from our website, post30lorraine.com, at our booth, or at Post 30. See our Facebook page or website for details. All proceeds from t-shirt sales go toward Post 30's youth programs.
Hey, it's GT from the Cool Cat, and your ride deserves the best. Auto Details on Broad Street, Elyria offers professional services for your car. If your car needs it, they do it. For a complete list of services, visit autodetails-elyria.com. Auto Details. Do it right.
WOBL and the Bearded Browns are proud to partner with J&M Contracting. From start to finish, J&M brings experience, quality, and expertise to every job. Call J&M Contracting at 440-662-8054. J&M Contracting, the experts in everything they do.
Trusted, local, personal service, 25 years strong. Doug White Allstate is where you belong. 440-235-8500. Call Doug White Agency today and see why they are different.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to talk about today, obviously. You're going to see a lot on the field today. I think this is going to be a very important game for the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to get into it. But first, man, if you guys aren't doing anything today, go down to the Doghouse Bar and Grill. That place is amazing. They got a bunch of Browns memorabilia on the walls. I'm sure that place is going to be packed for Browns football today, no matter what. It's going to be a good time. They got great food. Check them out. They're at 114 Antioch Drive in Elyria. Phone number is 440-412-3061. If you're sitting at home, just grab some food. Call in, order it, go pick it up.
Yeah, man. And if you need some money, go get some insurance from Doug White Allstate Insurance Agency, and you can use the money that you save there to get some food down at the Doghouse. So, man, this is going to be a good game. I'm excited for Shedeur to be starting today. They said he's looked pretty good in practice this week. Casey Concepcion, I want to get into him because last week, I said some stuff about him catching the football, and I have gotten some grief all week. A lot from some of the Bearded Browns fans, a lot from some friends. I've gotten a lot of text messages, and let me say this. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. When it comes to not only just Concepcion, but when it comes to the Browns players in general. I'm a Browns fan, man. I am a swing state. You can convince me very quickly.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
In college, he did have 19 drops in 3 years, okay?
For sure.
5 his first year, 7 and 7. That could be fixed.
For sure.
And I think it's being fixed right now. You've seen him. The kid looks incredible. He's getting open when needed, making big plays, yards after the catch. You're going to see a lot. This kid's going to be promising. I'm not going to tell you he's going to be your wide receiver 1 right off the bat, but I think by next year he might be, man.
And I'm ready for it, and I'm supporting it. I just need to see it, and I need to see it more than just in practice. And listen, and what I'm saying it and I'm not discounting seeing it in practice. It's great that you see it in practice because that's where you need to see it first. The second place you need to see it is in preseason games. So now you got 2 out of the 3. You know where the third place you need to see it is? Regular season games, and we haven't gotten there yet. So, given the guy, every place we've needed to see it so far, we have seen it. So you can't discredit the guy.
No, not at all.
Not at all. And it has been very, very exciting. And from what we've seen out of these guys, you can't take that away from them. And if we are seeing what we're seeing out of these guys, and if that is the truth, I don't understand how we're not going to have good quarterback play.
Well, it all starts with your offensive line. That's the issue. But
in the past, so you've had really good quarterbacks in the past, good offenses that have had bad offensive lines, and those quarterbacks have made the offensive line good.
No, the quarterbacks are able to adapt. We need a quarterback that can adapt, whether or not the offensive line is bad or not. Having a great offensive line is a great thing. It helps.
How many times have we had good offensive lines in the past and bad quarterback play? A good offensive line.
Since 1999.
I mean, you're talking since we've drafted Joe Thomas. Since the time of Joe Thomas, the Browns have been known for having a good offensive line and really bad quarterback play and bad offense. So I'm not discounting how, the need for a good offensive line. But the Browns have had the thing the Browns have built. So the Browns fans have had this PTSD since Tim Couch. We had a bad offensive line, and Tim Couch got killed. He got concussions, and we boot him off the field, and we've had this PTSD over, what has happened to him. And since then, I know that we've had quarterbacks have been killed since then, but for the most part, we've had good offensive lines. I think that as a fan, we can look at PFF grades, and we can look at all these different things. As a fan, you and I we don't know what good offensive line play is. You don't.
We do. We're used to having a good offensive line. That's the issue. And then you see what happens when you put a subpar quarterback in with a bad offensive line.
But is that really, but you think it is, but even when you think it's a good offensive line, but still these quarterbacks are getting creamed. So is the offensive line good or is it bad? Right. So could it have been good quarterback play and these offensive linemen are still getting these quarterbacks creamed?
Are you talking about present or past?
In the last 20 years.
Dude, I mean, right now, I'm going to talk about right now. And that is because you have a whole new offensive line. And we said it last week. They got to gel. These guys aren't going to come out and just be dominant. It's not going to happen. You got cross blocks. You have people in the backfield blocking for you. Quinshon Junkins has to be a good blocker as well. Harold Fannin, chip blocks. All that comes into mind. You might have double tight end sets that can help block. There's a lot that goes into an offensive line, and there's just not enough time in the day, I guess, to get these guys gelling by week one, I don't think.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying in general, where we've talked about what we need to get good quarterback play, right? What I'm saying is that in general, I think as fans, we overestimate our knowledge and our understanding of what it takes to get an offense going. And what, we overestimate our understanding of these blocking schemes and what makes a good offensive line.
What makes a good offensive line? A line that can create gaps for your running back, a line that could hold the pocket for your quarterback. Again, especially the left tackle, which Fano's seems to be doing a hell of a job.
But what about the rest? So do you know, can you look at a play and see when a quarterback is creating his own pressure?
And
I'm not saying you personally. I'm not talking Mike Wilkes personally. I'm saying in general, as a fan, when we get on these airwaves, or you listen to sports talk radio, or you watch podcasts, unless you know the actual schemes and the play being called, and you're actually down there, we don't actually know whether these quarterbacks are creating their own pressure. So where I'm coming from is that, we're talking about, we need a good offensive line. We need a good we don't actually know how good or bad these offensive lines that we've watched over the years have been. And so when we talk about, we need a good offensive line before we have good quarterback play, we don't know whether the quarterbacks make the offensive line or the offensive line makes the quarterbacks.
You have to be a smart quarterback. You can play with a bad line, but you have to be smart about it. And that's not what we have. To be able to stay in the pocket and smoothly throw a ball is what you would like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not having a quarterback scramble, trying to throw on the run. The offensive line helps with that. That's a need. Obviously we have two quarterbacks that are able to scramble out of the pocket and, gain yardage, but is that enough? I don't think so. And that becomes the line issue. Blocking. That's so important. And yes, I agree with you. You're not going to be able to really tell if they're creating their own pressures because we're not on the field. We don't know the play that they're calling. But pocket presence is one of the hugest things, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're scrambling out of the pocket, now the whole play is ruined. I don't think unless you're doing like a play for the quarterback to advance, I don't think there's a play set up for it. Like, how am I trying to say this? Like a quarterback sneak or something. Obviously, your quarterback's going to be running. But I'm talking about like if there's pressure coming and your quarterback has to get out of the pocket and try to make a play happen. That's in turn where your blocking comes. And there's awesome defensive lines out there that could kill any offensive line. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect.
For sure.
And that's where it lies the quarterback's decision-making. That is the most important part. If you see pressure, what are you going to do? Are you going to scramble? Are you going to get rid of the ball? Are you going to throw it out of bounds? Pressures cause turnovers.
Absolutely.
And that's, again, why I wanted to say Jared Verse is going to be important on this defensive line. But pressures, they're a big help. But it's all depending on what Shedeur Sanders is going to do, man. His time with holding onto the ball isn't great. I would like to see kind of like what Deshaun Watson was doing last week, to be honest. Get rid of the ball quick.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go for big shots down the field unless your offensive line is able to help you hold on to that ball for an extra second and get a guy downfield. I want to see smart decisions. I want to see chunk yards again, wasting clock. Today, I think you're going to see a lot of run game in this game, which is going to be great. See what the line is able to do for your run game. Are they able to create gaps? There's a lot. I am going to be focused on the offensive line today. I'm going to be focused on the quarterback play, obviously, and wide receivers.
Hey, Lamar, we read the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now, just so you know. And I appreciate it. I do look good. Thank you very much for saying that, Rocket River Rat. I do look good.
The chat's on the stream.
Yeah, dude. We're looking at it right now. And you guys can give us a call, 440-775-1320. You can join the show. Let us know. Give us your favorite Nick Chubb memories. Let us know, what do you think about the offensive line? What are you looking for what are going to be the key things that you're looking for to let us know, how do you know whether the offensive line is progressing or not? What are the things that you are looking for to see? What are the key things, the key signs that you're looking for so that you know whether or not, your quarterback is being protected? Do you think that the quarterback makes the offensive line, or does the offensive line make the quarterback?
We're going to find out some more today. I'm looking forward to it. I am supposed to go to a wedding, and I don't think I'm going to be able to go to that wedding. Because there's Browns football on, man. I mean, you scheduled.
Phone line was busy.
You scheduled a.
All right, try it again. 440-775-1320.
During a Browns game. Knowing I do what I do. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's fair enough, right? Right now, my wife's in Cincinnati.
All right, we're going to go to the phone lines. All right, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Ethan in Richmond. What is up, guys?
Ethan, what is going on? Going nuclear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, I got to mute the computer there so I don't have any feedback. Guys, first of all, the Nick Chubb thing last night, was that not just crazy news to come out on a Friday night out of nowhere?
Did you curl in a corner and cry, Ethan?
No, I didn't. I did not curl up in a corner and cry. That wasn't a moment for curling up and crying, although I think I know some people who might have been doing that. That was obviously sad. And to your point about, or to your guys' point about him retiring a Cleveland Brown, I don't know in the technical way if that'll happen, if they'll have him sign a one-day contract to retire as a Cleveland Brown or not. But obviously the guy's going in the Ring of Honor, and he will be beloved and forever in Cleveland, and certainly will be able to do whatever he wants if they want to give him a position, kind of like with Joe Thomas, where Coach Monken wanted to offer him an offensive line coaching position, and he didn't want that because he's got a family and that's not his focus. Speaking of offensive line, because you guys are discussing that, the offensive line last year was absolutely abysmal. But we had injuries all over the place. It was terrible. How many times did Quinshon Judkins get hit in the backfield?
Yeah.
And still gained a couple of yards?
Yeah, I think he was actually, I believe he was gaining 3 yards after contact last year.
Which was getting him right to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. And last week they looked not good in the run game, for sure. The best thing we can say is that in the joint practice, apparently they looked pretty good. It looked like Dylan Sampson was breaking some runs. Judkins didn't practice that day. Apparently something minor, so I don't believe he's going to be playing today. But it would be good, regardless of whether it's the first team. I would like to see the first team at least for maybe a series or two on the offensive line, but probably not. It would be nice to see them create some run gaps. And that in and of itself will create openings in the pass game because the defense will have to respect the run. They'll have to respect play action, all of those sorts of things. You talked about whether the quarterback play versus the offensive line play, which impacts which. We've obviously had good offensive lines in the past, and we've had terrible quarterbacks. I don't know when we've had a great quarterback and a bad offensive line since 1999. I don't think we have.
Yeah.
Certainly, the quarterbacks have to trust the offensive line. And as you said, Gary, they can't create their own pressure. Where that came up this week was talking about Shedeur Sanders drifting back in the pocket too far.
Which is something he's been doing since college.
Right. And that's where you go, wait a second. Why is it that is not, or what teaching is going on behind the scenes? Is that something that they're working on and have tried to work on that maybe he's not following all the time, that is a reason that he possibly isn't going to start the season as quarterback one? You said something earlier, Gary, about Deshaun Watson and whether he still has it or can have it. I know he can't. He stinks. That guy stinks. How many passes last week were behind receivers? Threw the one into the dirt. I've seen enough of him. And I heard a story last night about some atrocious stuff or something that he did that made me respect him even less. The sooner that guy is out of town, it will be so good because he's a stain on this organization.
And that makes you wonder if what is his locker room presence like? That's important. That is very important.
Thank you very much, Ethan, for the call in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so and that's another thing that we were kind of talking about in the text messages earlier this week too, is that a lot of fans still have not forgiven Deshaun Watson for some of the stuff that's happened in the past, and it's still in the chats here. Ethan's bringing it up on the phone calls here. Make sure that's on red so we can get more phone calls.
It's got to be on to get more phone calls.
It didn't come in until it was on the red.
Red is canceled. Red cuts the line.
All right. So we won't get any more phone calls. 440-775-1320. Give us a call. If you're giving us a call and it is busy, let us know. You can try and give us a call. 440-775-1320. Try and give us a call here. And yeah, a lot of people are, upset about Deshaun Watson, and they still are. They haven't really necessarily, they have not forgiven the Browns for that. They have not forgiven, they just have not forgiven them. And, that's been a shame. It's been a stain on the Browns. And so, that's been a thing here too, is if he does not beat Shedeur Sanders, or if he does beat Shedeur Sanders, I think that, that's another thing too, is that the Browns are trying to sell PSLs here. And it needed to be read. So the Browns are trying to sell, PSLs here. And, it's going to be hard to sell PSLs when you got a quarterback in there that half your fan base doesn't want to see.
Yeah, I mean, when he does come out today, you're going to hear a lot of boos if he does come out on the field. And you don't want to see that in any franchise. You don't. That could be a stadium killer, man. It really can. It brings the morale down. I don't like it. And I'm not one to boo either. I wouldn't do it, but I would sit there and just, let's see what this guy's capable of. But what I will tell you is if Shedeur Sanders does not wind up starting, Deshaun Watson comes out, you're going to see the boos for a little while. But if this guy comes out and dominates somehow and wins 5 games in a row, you could turn the tables. Cleveland, they're like you. They're not easy, but
we're swing state, man. Listen, we want the Browns to win. If you are somebody that can help the Browns win, we will support you. People out there, think that, it's being I don't know what you want to call it, but it's, we're Browns fans. We support Cleveland. We support the team. We want you out there. We want you out there, to support the team. We want you helping us win. And it's just as easy as that. And we want you doing it without being a stain, without being an embarrassment.
But there is upside to Shedeur Sanders being able to be called a starter. Obviously, this will be the last year for Deshaun Watson. And then you have a young, possible franchise quarterback at a cheaper price on a rookie deal.
Listen, man, Shedeur Sanders, if Shedeur Sanders can figure this thing out, he's the answer for everything. He's young. People love him. I mean, you're talking, this guy is not even been named your starter, and he's the #1 jersey seller in the NFL. You talk about wanting to be, we talk about on this podcast, on this show, the Cleveland Browns being America's team. That's America's quarterback right there. America's quarterback with America's team. You have the answer right there, which is why, in a lot of ways, I don't even understand why this is. I understand why you're making this a competition, because you want this kid to compete and you want him to earn it, right? You want him to get it. But on the other hand, look at what he's competing with. And I just don't understand. In a lot of ways, I just don't understand it, because there's no future in Deshaun Watson, because your fan base has rejected him over and over and over again. And Ethan has said in there, even with, and there are people that are done hating on him. I'm done. Listen, let me tell you something. I never really hated on Watson. The day that the Browns traded their draft pick to the Texans for him, I had put out a tweet that said, the Browns, this is going to cost the Browns a lot of draft picks to trade for him again down the road. And then a few years later, it cost them a lot of draft capital to trade for him. When he came out of Clemson, I was a Watson fan. I wanted the Browns to draft him when he came out, when we had the opportunity to get him to begin with. So I'm not somebody who was, I wasn't bullish on Watson to begin with. And when they traded him, I understood everything that was coming with it but talent-wise, he was somebody I was excited for that trade.
I was skeptical. Obviously, you sat the year out with the Texans, and that was a disappointment. And then you come to the Browns, you get your 11-game suspension, you get injured. You played 19 games so far of your 5-year deal. You played a season and 2 games of your 5-year deal because of injury and the things that you chose to do. I am over it. Don't get me wrong. I am just ready to move forward. But Andrew Berry said he's not afraid to sign somebody. So that's where you got to look at the bigger picture here. If Deshaun Watson comes out and plays good football, there's a possibility that he can be signed again next year. What do you do then?
Well, what are you going to, is Andrew Berry going to come out and say, I'm not going to re-sign this guy that's on my team?
You don't even talk about it. Don't even bring it up.
But people are bringing it up to him.
Yeah, but you're good at not answering questions. You're good at hiding things from the media. Don't say anything.
But Barry's going to say...
I love Berry. Don't get me wrong. I love Andrew Berry, and I think he's had 2 great drafts in the last 2 years since we've gotten our ones back from this stupid trade. It's a stupid trade. It's the worst trade in the NFL history, correct? I agree. It is the worst trade in NFL history by far. Tell me it's not.
Because of draft picks or because of the contract?
Because every scenario of it.
I mean, when you look at... if you want to talk about draft picks, yes. If you look at that contract in retrospect, that contract, when you look at how things ended up in the NFL, I don't want to hear about the contract. That contract ended up not being as bad as everybody said it was going to be, just because of how quarterbacks ended up being paid afterwards. I understand.
Jen said, keep the fans guessing.
Yeah, but that contract, because of how contracts inflate every year in the NFL, there's no such thing as the worst contract ever in the NFL. The way that they
started recently happening too, the contracts are getting bumped up because of Andrew Berry paying these dudes absorbent amount of money.
But it's not just Andrew Berry; it's everywhere. Well, it's been happening the last 20. It's been happening a long time. Where in the NFL, where you have the highest paid player ever at his position, and then 3 weeks later, you have another highest paid player ever in that position.
Because that position player is freaking out about it. Hey, I'm better than that guy. Why am I not getting his money?
Well, it's not even that they're freaking out about it. It's because the salary cap keeps going up every single year, because the NFL keeps getting, higher. The revenue keeps increasing every single year, and that's part of the CBA. So it's not, that's something that's part of the game.
Could that happen to us at work? Instead of a cost of living raise that goes up 39 cents a year, could we get like millions of dollars?
All right, get a CBA, man.
I don't even know what CBA stands for, but
collective bargaining agreement.
Oh yeah, I need one of those, please.
Yeah, you need one of those. It's a union, man, my man.
I'm in a union.
Not that strong. You didn't. So it's just that's how professional sports is in the NFL, and because of their CBA, that's what it's been. The Browns, had it worked out, just like anything else, it's the worst ever. Had it worked out, it wouldn't have been. Would you be willing to give up 3 first-round picks for, a top 3 quarterback? Yes. But he did end up being a top 3 quarterback because of, for a lot of reasons, for a myriad of reasons. A lot of the reasons you knew going into it, and look, you knew going into it. And one of the problems going into it was that, not to rehash old stuff, you had a quarterback.
Well, here, let me bring up. Yeah, I agree. But I love Baker. Don't get me wrong. And I'm going to say this, I'll die on this mountain. Baker is just a subpar quarterback. He'll get you to the playoffs. And
well, it's not subpar. That's a par quarterback.
He's a
par quarterback.
Right, he's a par quarterback. All right. He'll get you there possibly. But now he's in one of the worst divisions in the league. So it's a little bit easier for him. I loved Baker. I did. I have 2 of his jerseys. I'm not going to bash the guy. Just didn't work. And it's hard to say that, man, because he got us to somewhere we haven't been in a long time. But then the team has changed dramatically since then as well. And do you think if he were here today, it would be any better? And let me ask you this. If you were to put Tom Brady on the Cleveland Browns right now in his prime, do you think that would turn this whole offense around? I'm talking about with the offensive line and the receivers that we have and the running back right now. Do you think that would make a dramatic difference?
Absolutely. I think Tom Brady on any team Tom Brady in his prime on any team makes a dramatic difference. Michael Jordan on any team in his prime in basketball makes a dramatic difference. You know, when you put you put the goat in any sport on any team, you know, in their prime, makes a dramatic difference. You know, that's but if you're talking, do you put Drew Brees? Or, you put other Pro Bowlers on this team, does it make a difference? I'm not sure. Tom Brady, absolutely.
Isn't Drew Brees like a Dylan Gabriel size too?
He is, but man, he made it. He was tough, man. He was tough.
I agree.
Who do you guys think we could put on this team to, make a difference? And who are you excited to see today? Man, I'm just so excited to see some football today. We keep hearing that the Browns look like they belong. And I'm excited to see if they belong today. You can give us a call, 440-775-1320. We got one more break to take here before the 10 o'clock hour.
We're going to come back and talk wide receivers. Some more. And some other stuff maybe. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But we'll be right back.
Tune to Lorain County Country Friday nights for Lorain County's radio source for high school football. AM 1320 and 107.7 FM, WOBL.
WOBL and the Bearded Browns are proud to partner with J&M Contracting. From start to finish, J&M brings experience, quality, and expertise to every job. Call J&M Contracting at 440-662-8054. J&M Contracting, the experts in everything they do.
Trusted, local, personal service, 25 years strong. Doug White Allstate is where you belong. 440-235-8500. Call Doug White Agency today and see why they are different.
Hey, it's TT from the Cool Cat, and your ride deserves the best. Auto Details on Broad Street, Elyria offers professional services for your car. If your car needs it, they do it. For a complete list of services, visit autodetails-elyria.com. Auto Details. Do it right.
There's a name you need to know. Wiggins Construction. For your next project, follow them on Facebook or give them a call at 440-731-4654. Wiggins Construction. Built on a name you can remember.
Hey, it's Gary from the Bearded Browns.
This is not a drill.
City Dogs and the Lorain County Dog Kennel have officially reached
critical mass.
We're talking dogs with zoomies the speed of a Josh Cribbs punt return. These dogs don't care about who the next QB of the Browns are. They just care about you. Adopt, foster, share, save a life. City Dogs Cleveland, Lorain County Dog Kennel. Draft the next dog pound superstar.
At City Dogs Cleveland on all social media.
The Doghouse Bar and Grill in Elyria is proud to support the Bearded Browns podcast. And when it's time for Browns football, there's only one place to be. Great food, cold drinks, and every Browns game. Be a savage. Come in and watch all games at Doghouse.
The beautiful Stocker Arts Center, located on the campus of Lorain County Community College, brings you entertainment and experiences for the whole family. National acts, local artists, film, and visual arts at an affordable price. Visit StockerArtCenter.com for upcoming shows and tickets, or call 440-366-4040. The Stocker Art Center, a cultural cornerstone of LCCC.
We are back with the Bearded Browns live on WOBL. And I'm so excited for this game, man. We're going to talk wide receivers here. We talked a little bit about Casey Concepcion, but, man, we got Boston. And, man, we also talked about a little bit Jerry Jeudy here.
Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Bond. We have I think it's safe to say that we have a good wide receiver class here, hands down.
Absolutely.
They're young, talented. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to have a good year. Harold Fannin. Obviously, there's some issues with the tight end room right now, but if Harold Fannin can stay healthy, we'll be fine on tight end spots.
And I think that those skill positions are something, too, that help your offensive line going back to that. When you have good skill positions and the quarterback, it helps the quarterback get rid of that ball fast. So when you have quarterbacks that can separate, catch the ball, run good routes, the offensive line doesn't have to block as long either. So, there's a lot of different things that, help have a good offensive line. And so the Browns, I think, are in a position to help have a much better offensive line this year. 440-775-1320. Give us a call on the Maple City Ice Bud Light listener line. Let us know what you're looking forward to. We got Nick Chubb's retirement last night. Which wide receiver are you looking forward to seeing today?
I would like to see where you were at last week. I want to see some Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see some Denzel Boston today. And obviously the passing is going to be crucial today. I don't know if this is going to be a run-heavy game to see what this offensive line is able to do with the run this week. That might be it. The receivers were tearing up the Bills' secondary Thursday, though. Casey Concepcion had a couple great passes. Denzel Boston had a couple great passes. So that's stuff to look forward to today. It's going to be interesting to see how the quarterback reacts to the Buffalo Bills coming at them. They're no slouch team, obviously. We all know that. It's going to be an intense game, especially with all these guys fighting for a job today. So just look forward to it.
For sure. And, and one thing that, people have been saying while they're at practices is, wow, look at the difference between, this is what a quarterback looks like. And this is, the Browns need to, look towards this. But just remember what a project Josh Allen was when the Bills drafted him. A lot of the things that they're saying about Shedeur Sanders, and I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is going to be Josh Allen. Please understand that I'm not saying that our second-year quarterback is going to be this all-pro quarterback for this contending, Super Bowl contending team. That's not what I'm saying. I'm hoping that he will be, but this is not the thing that I'm saying. What I am saying is that at some point in time, these all-pro quarterbacks were projects. And they had problems with processing time, and they held on to Josh Allen still holds on to the ball too long.
But he's got an offensive line to make it happen.
And he's got. But when he didn't have offensive weapons, when he didn't have skill position weapons, what was he doing? He was running backwards, and he was making bad throws. And once the Bills put weapons around him, and he had a little bit of blocking, he became Josh Allen.
Yeah. What I'm interested to see on the Bills side of the ball is Joe Brady's presence. Obviously, he was the offensive coordinator. He's been with Josh Allen for quite a while. I think he was a quarterback's coach as well. So these two aren't strangers. It's not like, like the Browns bringing in Todd Monken and a whole new offensive scheme or staff from the Baltimore Ravens. You would expect to see great things from the Browns because the Ravens did good offensively. But Joe Brady has some big shoes to fill with McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously were a playoff team every year. You just weren't able to push them enough to get to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be an interesting game for them as well. I mean, I don't think their scheme has changed too much, but it's going to be an interesting watch to see how they react and what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And, also you have our head coach here too, who also had another, we're talking about Josh Allen, who was a project, right? But then, you also have a head coach here who also had another quarterback in Baltimore, who I guess he didn't have him at the point when he was a project, but he had a quarterback there who at one point in time, who was part of the same draft as Josh Allen, who was also a project. And in his first year when he had him, he had an MVP year there. So Todd Monken, I don't know that he was necessarily my first choice for the head coaching position here. But like I said, I keep saying I'm a swing state. I'm open to seeing what I see, and you can convince me. I realize that I'm not Andrew Berry. I know that there's a reason why I am not a scout in the NFL, and I am not the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. There's a reason why I sell pet insurance during the week and I do the Bearded Browns podcast at night and on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a person that is, I do not make a living making these decisions for the Cleveland Browns. So my mind can be changed. And I understand that Todd Monken is a, I understand. I am a tremendous slouch. Thank you very much. I understand that Todd Monken, is, wherever he is on, on that radar, wherever he is on there, he is elite of the elite, right? So he can probably get something out of whichever quarterback that he ends up starting or whoever is on this team, right? So I'm just, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that, he can get whichever quarterback that they choose. I'm just hoping that he gets the most out of it, and I'm hoping that it's Shedeur, man, because I think he has the highest ceiling, and like I said, I think that he makes the Browns America's team, man.
Not only that, again, with you're saving money, you got a young prospect that could possibly ball and make this team great again.
Yeah.
So look forward to that, and I hear from sources, X and Facebook, that Todd Monken's going to have a decision made by Monday. So after today's game, we might know Monday morning who the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback will be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be at work. So my phone will be like, I'm going to be on. It's all depending on what happens today. You're going to see Shedeur start at Huntington Bank Field. And the crowd is going to go insane when he walks out. Believe me. Some people, I would say this is like a 70-30 fan base for Shedeur.
Oh, for sure.
That'll be there.
It's going to be pro wrestling. It's going to be, the 1980s, and Shedeur, when he comes out, it's going to be Hulk Hogan. And then when Watson comes out, it's going to be the Iron Sheik.
But yeah.
And it's definitely going to be interesting. And, I think the Browns are definitely waiting to see that as well. And I'm wondering how much that is going to take into account as to who they choose. And I think also the schedule has a lot to do with this as well. The Browns' first few games are not at home.
Hey, you're in Jacksonville and Tampa against Baker.
Yeah, I think the first 3 games are away?
First 2, I believe. I can't remember right now.
First 2-3 games are away. So, even if you have Deshaun starting your first couple games, who's to say that by the time you come home, Deshaun's not your starter?
That's what I'm guessing. If Deshaun Watson is a starter, I believe between week 4 and 6 somewhere, he won't be, either due to injury or poor play. And you're going to see somebody else, whether that be Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's actually supposedly been doing okay, showing signs of improvement as well. So
yeah, dude. After that showing last week, I don't want to see any more of him.
Yeah, it is. It's hard, but
after that, I just, listen, after that, I get that you can show up and practice and do, but after what we saw last week, I don't want to see any more of that guy.
Well, I'm just saying it's a possibility. And then you got Taylor Green after that.
Taylor Green, that's a development guy. I love the physical traits of Taylor Green. Develop that guy, keep him on the team.
You know what I did this morning? I sat on a toilet and watched highlights of Taylor Green.
Did you?
Yep. Because you called me and woke me up on my day off.
No, I wanted to make sure you were up like you did to me last week.
Well, you got an hour drive. I got a 10-minute drive.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So it just, like I said, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any more of him. And also what I'm afraid of is if you're talking about, starting Watson the first couple games just to, let that line gel and whatever it is, I'm okay with that. What I'm afraid of seeing this year is you're not putting Sanders in until the season doesn't matter anymore. And Sanders comes in and he does whatever he does for the last 6-7 games when it doesn't matter. And then you say what he did doesn't matter. It doesn't tell you anything. And then you're going into the draft and you still don't know. And then you're trying to figure out how you're going to spend that draft capital. I want at the end of the season to either know that he's your guy or know that he's not. And I'm not saying at the end of this year, know whether he's a Pro Bowler or not. I'm saying at the end of this year, know whether or not you're still working on this guy. Is he going to be the guy that you're going to develop? Is he going to be, is he going to be a guy that you're going to work towards getting a second contract for, and you're going to spend this high draft capital that you have to build around him?
Yeah,
that's what you need to know at the end of this year. At the end of this year, are you going to be spending all of your draft capital on building around this guy, or are you spending it on a quarterback? Because if he is average to above average with the rest of the team that you've built around, you're building around him. Because the rest of what's coming in this draft and next year is unknown.
Jen just texted me the banner threw in the towel.
It sure did. It's been dying all day.
We'll get that fixed. But yeah, you're right. But hear me out, because you brought Joe Flacco on the past couple of years, and we didn't bring in another veteran to hold it down. We have 4 quarterbacks right now, so they believe in somebody on this team or multiple people enough to move forward without bringing in a known veteran that might want to move.
Yeah. And it's even like someone saying in the week 6, if you're below 500, you got to go to Sanders. You're not even waiting that long, because
I said between week 4 and 6.
I don't even think Watson is not here next year. From what everybody is saying, from your sources, from my sources, Angel. I'm just teasing you, Angel. From what everybody is saying, Watson's not here next year. So there's no reason to there's no reason. The only other thing, and I'm going to put this out here at the end of the show here, is that I was seeing that, and here's a Browns conspiracy.
Trade capital.
Well, not even that. So I was saying that in the text message, but I've been told by everybody that there's no way you can trade Watson, even though I don't think the salary cap is real.
Because there's no trade clause, and only he could abolish that.
Sure, but I would imagine that if he got an opportunity to play, he would waive that no trade clause, because guys do it all the time, and they rework deals all the time, and they manipulate the cap. And the Browns are the best in the league at manipulating the cap, right? So if there's a will, there's a way. Could the Browns figure out a way to trade this guy if he looks good enough in preseason and get right? So that's one thing. Here's the other thing. Does Monken even want either of these guys to be the quarterback? Because what's going on in Baltimore right now with what's going on quarterback in Baltimore right now with their quarterback?
You have somewhat of an elite quarterback. I don't know what else. He has diarrhea again?
He has his contract ends in the end of 27.
Yeah.
And they're fighting over, they can't franchise him, and he hasn't signed an extension. And at the end of all of this, so say you end up with Watson, right? And you end up with Sanders, and neither of them end up being the guy this year. And maybe you give Sanders one more year. Sanders doesn't end up being that guy. At the end of 27, does Lamar Jackson want to end up coming and playing with a head coach that he got an MVP under?
Who knows? I mean, you got a lot going on over there with Jesse Minter, so a lot could change.
This is the first time he's not played under Harbaugh. Could the Browns be really making a play for Lamar Jackson in 27?
Absolutely not. No. We're going to end the show here, ladies and gentlemen.
Are the Browns making a play for Lamar Jackson in 27?
I'm not even going to entice. No, not at all. I want to thank everybody for joining us today here on WOBL Jackson. And our streaming services. Follow us on X, YouTube, Facebook, everything.
Lamar Jackson.
I'm going to end Gary as well. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow, 11:30 to 1. We will see you guys tomorrow to talk the game. It's going to be a fun, interesting day. We're going to find out a lot today. But until then, we'll see you. And as always, go Browns.
Broadcasting from the Lorain County Visitors Bureau Studios, this is WOBL, Oberlin, Lorain County Country. WOBL is Lorain County